Hi everyone. I've got that zoomed in a bit too far, haven't I? I've just been messing around with it. I know why. Let me get you to that one. Look, there you go. Yes, I'm a bit fuzzy. Trying to get a balance between the zooming in on the stuff behind and what have you. Hope you're all well. This is a short one. Jokes there, please. This is a relatively short one, but a Q&A at the end. Yeah. Do you really want me? Are you bothered that I'm blurred? I'm sure you're not. I'll tell you, I'll back off a bit with the... Let's back off a bit. That might be a bit better. It's not a lot to update you with. You already know I'm going to China in 3 weeks. It's probably 2.5 weeks now. I'm actually going on I'm going in about 3 weeks. That's all good. Everything's set, flights and everything. So there's some disappointing. Well, don't panic. When it comes to the Kickstarter show, I was planning on showing the very latest version of the chassis at the Kickstarter show, but last week we had to make 2 or 3 minor changes to the structure, and they were making it, and they wanted to make a new rear panel. They were actually made everything, and while they were assembling it together, they made a couple of suggestions, and I've accepted those suggestions. So they're remaking the rear panel again, which is probably not going to be ready for a couple of days, which means it's not going to be here in time for Kickstarter show. Now, to be fair, a lot of people are backers are Amiga fans, obviously, but it's sadly not going to make it to the show. Appy's going to be there. I'll be there, and I'll have all these monitors set up. Well, and this one here, because it's here's the story. Okay, so whilst we've not 100% finalised the power supply, I think, touch word, none of this is word, I think we're there, but I've sent a couple off to Appy. He's just got to double check them to make sure they're okay, and it looks like we got that. Now, as you probably know, we've had some fun with power supplies. We've gone through quite a few, so this is the Isn't Steve a Dick? Now the idea was we had one that they increased the voltage. Don't worry about this. It's a completely different change now. The whole thing's changed. I explained that last time. But I managed to plug in one of the old power supplies into the previous version of the boards, and wonder why it didn't work. And the overvoltage had blown Appy's video switch chip. So that's been posted off to him. He's replaced that, and that's all working again. Now, of course, it's not going to happen on the product, so don't go like that. This is the thing we're trying to. We'd already discounted them, but for some reason, I left them on the shelf instead of filing them under miscellaneous in the bin. So I'd plugged them in, and I'd blown his chip. The rest of it was working all right, but just they're very sensitive, these chips, to there's a limit, and it popped. So that was quite funny. Not quite as impressive as one I did with my one of these. Or was it one of these? No, it wasn't. It was a different board. I'd actually plugged 12 volts into a 5-volt device. Fire. Fantastic it was. Smoke. Literally flames going along the cable. That was great fun. So nothing like that. But yeah, just a slight over voltage. You're never going to have that. That's why that power supply was dumped 2 power supplies ago. But stupid, I didn't throw it in the bin. My fault. But yeah, it's the magic smoke. Yeah. That's why this one's blank because the board's gone to happy to be repaired. You'll see that at the show. But the very latest version, unfortunately, is not going to make it to the Kickstarter show. Now, I don't think it really matters. I mean, it would be nice to show, but it doesn't really matter. I'm pretty confident that this chassis is going to be good because they've been the people I work with in China. I'm not embarrassed about saying China. There seems to be this thing about China. I've not got a problem with China, okay? And I'm going to fly out there. I'm going to have a great time. I know they're going to treat me really well. I'm going to spend a lot of money. But they're very friendly out there. So should be a good trip. But anyway, they came up with some suggestions, some tweaks, which I've gone along with, and some quite good ones. I was struggling to do a certain kind of thing with Fusion. It was either my lack of experience with Fusion or I couldn't do it. For some reason, I couldn't do this to do with the bezel, how it locates onto the rear panel. And they changed that for me, and actually it's much better. And it is a much better system. So I think when that turns up, it's going to be signed off, and then I'm going to send the money over to do the tooling, which is, as you know, is a big deal. But I will confirm that once I've got it here, and it's all okay. So that's all good news. But sadly, it means I'm not going to have the chassis here. So if you come into the show to see the very, very latest version, which I was hoping, unfortunately, it's going to arrive the week after. Such is life with this kind of production. But I'll have interesting stuff to see, and it basically is going to be a bit of a jolly for everyone. Lots of fun. So that's the main reason for going. And I like to see. I did Retcon recently, a week or two ago. That was great fun. Lots of people come up and said hello, which is really nice. I got to talk to people, did a little talk. That was fun. I had to admit I'm not a gamer. In a panel of gamers, which was entertaining. But yeah, so it's all going well. It's taken the time it's taken. But I do think we'll be getting the tooling signed off, ready for tooling probably next week. So that's all good. And it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to make the tooling. And then when that's done, it's just a case of getting everything planned and then turning on taps. I don't have to drop into some big queue like 6 months down the road. I literally, as soon as we're ready to go, they'll make them they'll start making them within a few days and put them together. So that's all good news. I've already explained about the Appy's board. The Slot Zero board is, barring any real big problems, is done, but it's not finished. So it has to go to the people who are making the controllers to take their circuitry to drop it onto the controller. We have got a fallback plan. The fallback plan was always the controller. You've seen the original concept. Nothing like what we're doing now. We've really upped the game because of it was pretty successful. So it's going to do an awful lot more. But I've always had in mind the fallback plans, so that we always ship. The minimum we'll ship is what I told you about, but the plan is to be able to ship so much more. So that's good news, because we're planning for the future of this thing. I'm pleased with the progress. There was something else I wanted to mention. Can't remember what it is. I have got another, as I've mentioned many times. You might have seen. Me and Appy both had a Toshiba laptop, so we can do the EGA, and we've got stuff. But I bought my laptop. The hard drive don't work, so I had to buy another one. So I've got another one. But this ow. But but this time, this one is absolutely wonderful, and the screen, the plasma display. On our other ones, it's got vertical lines, which is really annoying. But that one's, I know I'm going to regret saying this, but perfect. The hard drive works, everything works in it. It's and so that's really good. But it's CGA. But I've ordered an EGA card. That's a really special one that does CGA, EGA, Plantronics, MDA. I think it might do a bit of Hercules. So it's a real good card. So we can do for more testing. So that's obviously going to help the product. But yeah, basically, things are progressing. I'll come on in 2 weeks and say, yeah, everything's good. So now we'll get on to some questions. There was something else I wanted to mention, but once I remember that, I'll come back. But there is some good questions in it. And in case you're wondering what the drink is, how about ale? Right. Let me get the list of the questions up. There was a big discussion about aspect ratio. If those are 4:3 panels, 4:3 output. No. So it says in the Kickstarter, and I've been very clear, these are not 4:3 panels. You can't buy them. Well, technically you can, if you're lucky. So these are industrial panels. They're 5:4. They're 1280 by 1024 pixels. Now, if you see this monitor here, right? Watch that. What happens is that's actually 1280 by 1024. So pretend it's 1024 768. So what I'm going to do is I am going to switch it. At the moment, it's set to auto. You can't see that. But watch the display when I drop down to 4:3. Can you see it's put that black bar above and below? Okay, that's 4:3. It's important to understand that these monitors are 5:4 aspect ratio, but they have a proper 4:3 mode, and then they put little bars. I had a lot of trouble getting that mode, explaining aspect ratios to a company that makes monitor controllers. That was hilarious because they're all used to 16:9. Anyway, that's beside the point. So it is a 5:4 panel. It runs 4:3 perfectly. Just puts a thin black bar above and below. We still, I suppose we could go into the subject of Arcuda because they're working on a 4:3 panel. They are still working on it. But I knew they were going to have problems, to be fair, actually getting the panels, because it's not as easy as people think. You can't just go make it so to get perfect panels. So it's actually quite a big thing what they're doing. And I'm waiting for them to come back to me, and I'm just progressing with the existing panels. So I personally believe 98% of people, maybe 99%, will be more than happy with these panels. And if it looks a bit dark on this, because I'm trying to get a recording, yeah, it's a nightmare trying to get it on camera to as good as it looks in person. So I'm still waiting on them to come back to me with how they're progressing. But to be fair, they got a real struggle on their hands. It's to do with supply of the actual panels and what is available. So we're still waiting for them to come back. It's taking longer than they thought. So let's go for that's the aspect ratio. So it's always been 5:4. It's never anything else. I have said there may potentially be a 4:3 panel, which we think the Arcuda one will be a 4:3 panel. But my argument on this is really simple. Not everyone wants a 4:3 panel. PAL people don't want a 4:3 panel. 5:4 is a better aspect ratio for PAL. Okay, 4:3 is great for US. 4:3 is great if you're running 320 by 200 or 640 by 480s. That kind of resolution, or 1024 768. But as soon as you go up the next one, 1280 1024, it's 5:4. So this whole aspect ratio thing is, I understand the square pixels, but they are square pixels. So when that runs in 4:3, I've actually measured. I actually measured it. And then put a tape measure on it, and then divided by it, and they were square, so they are square pixels that are on that display, which is quite nice. So that's covered. Right. question here. 240p, 480p, 720p, 1080p. Right, so forget 1080p. It's not a widescreen. Forget 720p. It's not a widescreen. 240 and 480 tend to get will be upscaled to 480 576. So this does have NTSC mode. And it will do, that aspect ratio and the PAL version and the NTSC versions. So if you plug in with composite, it will scale it full screen. If you get an AV, and it'll fill the display, but then you can switch to 4:3. So there's adjustments there. Right, number of pixels, I believe is 4:3 by design and ratio. Nope. 90. Look, Kickstarter says 5:4, which is PAL. 4:3 aspect would. Well, it's not PAL. 5:4 is not PAL. It just so happens that PAL is 5:4. But that's why for Europeans actually works out really nice for 5:4. But the 4:3 is fine. You know, we've had the firmware modified to be accurate. 4:3. You just get a little black bar above and below. But it's not a case of me being awkward. It means I'd have to standardize on a 1024 by 768 panel. I ain't doing that. Okay, I want a higher resolution panel. Now you could say go 1600 by 1200. Well, okay, that's fine. If you point me to where I can buy them, then we'll look into it. But I've looked, and they're very, very hard to find. So the 4:3, that's one of the big issues. Can't really get 4:3 panels unless you can get 1024. Why would you want to do that? Why? You want the highest resolution possible. Let's give it already looking good from the front. Thank you very much. Image effects. Right, any more questions? Well, it's gonna be a short night because it's basically hello. We even get a fancy pre-roll. Well, we've always had that. That throws back 70s music. Love it. Jeremy, hi, hello, just made it. Happy's here. I know I'm a bit blurred, yeah. It's like a drunk filter. I can do that if you like. Still not got a count. I checked my 59. Well, okay, let's cover that. So, that was the thing I was going to talk about. Let me have a quick swig because it's like an oven in this room. The money. You probably know, and I haven't asked for the balance. So I've already explained this, I think 4 or 5 times, but it's mainly because whilst the cost of the panel will not change, and the extras that I've shown, unless it says about, they won't change. Like the 5-way switcher won't change. I didn't put on the HDMI out, so that'll be what it comes to. But it's not going to be a lot of money. It really isn't. And you will get... the great thing about the HDMI output is you're going to get one of these thrown in with... Throw it on the floor, you moron. I'm going to throw one of them in with it because a lot of the high-end capture cards won't work with 1280 by 1024. It's nothing to do with the output from the HDMI output. It's literally they don't like anything other than widescreen. Whereas these ones just work okay. Where was I going with this? Oh God, this is trouble getting old, isn't it? Oh damn! Someone remind me what I was talking about. I got distracted and got off on a tangent. Damn. Someone remind me what I was saying. I'm completely lost. I'm going to come back to it in a second. Someone put it up there. Just tell me what the main subject I was talking about. Right. Yes, I got it. Reread the question. Taking your money. So we know basically what the bits are going to cost. There's extras when you want them, but the real big thing at the moment is not so much some. There's going to be some. I need to know certain final costs, just to be sure, just in case any issues. But the big one was shipping. So the shipping costs at the moment I'm paying are very expensive. Okay, however, I can't tell you what the difference is, but I'm having a meeting with a courier on Thursday, and if they stick to the figures they're quoting me, because of the numbers I'm doing, if they stick to the figures, they're going to come down quite a lot. So everything's still going to be shipped from here, okay? Because it made no difference. If I was thinking of shipping direct from China, it makes no difference, because the trouble is they're so configurable. There's so many options. You just can't do that, you know. So, and it made no sense, because the big ones, these American and Australian ones, were still same price, but the European and the UK ones tripled. It was silly money. So no point in doing that. So it's all coming here. If you live in the UK, it's peanuts. If you live in Europe, it's not very expensive. If you live in America, yeah, it's a bit more expensive. If you live in Australia, but the good news is it's not as bad. Now, again, I can't confirm this. This is why I haven't asked for your money, because until I've got these figures and I update my system, I can't take your money, because it's such a big difference in shipping charges. I've got to get it right, because you know there's one way of killing the company is to get shipping wrong, because there is an awful lot of shipping. A lot of people say money. Yeah, I know, because I just told you I'm old. But on Thursday I should have these figures, and I can then I might do an update the following week, or but basically it's going to come down from, if you know what my costs are and the prices I've quoted, they're going to come down from there. I mean, you know, it's not like 10%, but it's going to be substantially cheaper, which is all good news, because these are quite big volumetrically, so they're quite expensive to ship. And that's the reason why I'm taking the money. I'm in no rush to take your money. I mean, you know, I haven't ordered my Porsche, so Ferrari or Aston Martin. I'd buy an Alfa Romeo, to be honest. But I haven't obviously ordered it, so I don't need your money. Hopefully, for those who haven't got, I don't know about the English sarcasm, that was being sarcastic. But no, I don't need your money yet, and so. But I will be taking that soon, and yeah, so that's basically it. Right. I like the comment here from Mr. Merlin. When we take ownership of these panels, the Steam hardware survey is going to have some anomalies regarding user desktop resolutions. If I sell that many that I affect that, I will be, well, rich. Like, richer than the dreams of avarice. Isn't that the one? Isn't that the one they say? But I ain't going to sell that many. It's not even going to notice. It's not even going to be a blip. You must like sitting by the road. Oh, no. See, I've had two Alfa Romeos. Right? I had a Twin Spark. And I did 50. I bought a second hand. She had 70,000 miles on the first one. 2-litre Twin Spark. She never broke down in 50,000 miles. In the end, 126,000 miles. She did need some work doing. In some ways, I wish I hadn't sold her, but I ended up getting quite a lot of money for her because of parts. So that, and I part exchanged for my red one. And then I bought a V6, which had, I think she had about 50,000. I did 60,000 on her. She never broke down. Neither ever broke down. And they were solid as a rock. Now, I can tell you a story about an Alfa Romeo. An ex-partner, I talked her into buying a 157. We went and so she was, oh, yeah, I'll buy that. Went to dinner. We went, not new. It was second hand, about 30,000 miles. Went to pick it up, driving it over. Bang, bang, bang. Turn around, straight back. Refund. Oh, no, I'll fix it. No, refund. So I made them give her a refund. So, yeah. But my two, never a problem. So I absolutely love my Alfa Romeos. And I would buy another. Right. Alicia's come in. Obviously didn't see the beginning. Sadly, the latest version is not going to be at the show. It was going to ship last week, but because we made a few minor tweaks, they wanted to make a new rear panel with these adjustments in it. Because obviously they've got it, they've built it, assembled it, and done everything, and suggested a few changes. So it's not shipped yet. It's probably not going to ship till later this week. And so it's never going to make it here for the weekend. So sadly it's not there, but the others will be. It really only difference to be, apart from the perfect fit, the bezel's sitting perfectly, which actually even the V3 actually sits really well. It's not a lot different, subtle differences, there's nothing major difference between that and the 3 that you would go, oh yeah. It's just everything's adjusted better, fits better. It's really the whole tooling thing. So all the drafting is ready. It's just really the reason again it is just to make sure that it still works. But then that design is ready to be tooled up. That's why it's important. This is the final check. So it's not really going to make an awful lot of difference. Right. Yeah, this is one of the best communicated Kickstarters. I'm definitely not worried. Having met you, totally upfront and honest. You're doing the best with the product. It's fabulous. PSUs are so important. Damn right. We keep blowing them up. If you've seen Appy's, that's not the torture rig. Oh no, it's not there. We took it out. Damn. I had a picture of Appy's torture rig. So he tends to torture the damn things. I didn't skip a lot of. Did I skip a lot of comments? And something else. What? I got that far. I want to know what the last part says. Well, what have I missed, Appy? Let me just answer these last ones here. Where can I find out more about the configurable options? I've lost track. You can't yet. But it's in the Kickstarter, so if you read all the information, it's actually in there. But you can't as yet. What happens is it's the same with my last 2 Kickstarters. You'll get an email from us, and it'll give you a temporary login to the system. Your account will have already been created with your money on the system. And then you'll have options so you can go through, make changes, change a colour and that kind of thing. And then you pay your balance. But as I said before, that's not on because until I got the final shipping prices. A magic smoke. Yeah, it's not going to be a quick stream, is it? Let me just make... I don't think I missed... Oh, maybe I have. That blur is a bit annoying, must admit. Is that better? Who's doing this? Oh, okay, yes. Who's doing the assembly and testing of these monitors again? Can you guess? Take your time. Having said that, Caroline, my wife, is going to come along and help because she's actually going to be working. At the moment, she's not, but basically, the company's going to employ my wife. And she's doing bookkeeping already, but she's going to come along. Should be interesting for her and help out a little bit. I may get some extra help in temporarily, but the score. It's going to be mostly me doing them all. That thing is about as large as my desktop PC. Yep, that's the idea. Anyone else seen Silo on Apple TV? Do the computers really remind anyone else of check my display? I can get my lawyers on that. MDA support. I'd like to acquire an IBM PC. It'd be awesome to have MDA. Yeah, so, okay. Yeah, he was right. I have missed some questions. Sorry about that. We've got CGA and EGA. And one of the reasons I mentioned this laptop, let me get it out again. It's very light. This is not. We got 3 of these now. Appy's got one. I got a big one. So this is my new one, which is the little one. But it's CGA, this one. But I'm plugging in a really special card that does CGA, EGA, MDA, Plantronics, and I think, not 100% sure, Hercules. and then we can test all of that, which would be really good. But we are working. I quote CGA and EGA, okay, because we know that works. That's working lovely. However, as we progress, we'll see if we can have more. If we can have more, we will, but we're not promising it. With 4 different monochrome colours too, yeah. I know Appy's going to want to talk a lot, but I'm loath to, and hopefully Appy's listening. I'm loath to comment too much on stuff that we've not said we'll deliver, because until we absolutely know we can or can't, I won't say we can. Does that make sense? But there is CGA and EGA, and that's always. If you read the Kickstarter, it's very clear. It doesn't do the 350, 400 modes on our panels in EGA. It does the 200 lines. However, we're working on it. Okay, but we have to bear in mind what we've quoted on the specs, and if we can improve on that, we will. And over time, we'll just improve it. The colours. Again, it's that thing of not promising stuff. But I don't think that one's too complicated. Retro he's to come by. It's the dang monitor's the problem. Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. The flipping heck. You have no idea. Yeah, another reason for doing this. Because I like old computers. I mean, I've always said I'm just a bit of a nerd. And yes, this is kind of helping my Amiga thing. But it means that this monitor's meant so I can plug anything into it. Oh, don't worry. I've not run off. It's not a conspiracy. How many of the pod modules will fit in the back, and will we be able to order multiples of the same one? That's a really interesting question. So there's 3 bays. The first bay is the controller. So slot 0, that takes up the first one. Then you've got 2 left. Most people are going to want the GBS one in the second pod. Because that's got the CGA, EJ, SCART component. Okay, that's the really important one. And that leaves 1 spare. Now what you put in that is up to you. Now, the idea of putting 2 I don't think makes any sense. Well, no, I can see maybe why you want to do it, but there's got to be better ways around it. I don't think you'd want 2 GBSs. And I wouldn't have thought so. Let's see what Appy said, because 3 pods, but 1 is slot 0. Yeah, he's just said, but I am, so only 2 as my. I don't know, a lot cheaper multiple. Yeah. So we're trying to put a lot on one board. What did the old 1084S do between PAL and NTSC? Were they actually different size tubes? No, I think they were the same. Do you know what? I've never actually stuck one. I'm pretty sure they'd be the same size tubes. Maybe don't know. It's a very good question. It might be a different size bezel. Money, costs. Yeah, okay. So that's the ones reminding me. Okay, so I've answered all of them. Any support for Atari ST monochrome? If you're talking about the VGA output, it just works. It just works. VGA monochrome works great. The RGB SCART is working great now. Absolutely. It has been for a while, to be fair. In fact, the composite looks really good. But the SCART looks amazing, because I basically left the Atari with Appy, and every time he does a change, he tests it, uses it, because the Atari, my Atari was always a problem. I plugged it into the original one we had because I thought they just worked, and so I bought one. It didn't work. So I went to the Greenford user group, and we tried all of theirs, and out of 5, 3 of them worked. Mine didn't, and 1 other didn't. But then his didn't work at all. So we don't know if it was. But mine seemed to have a bit of a twitch. But now it's rock solid. Cylon, one of the best communicated Kickstarters. Thank you very much. I try and do these every 2 weeks. He just keeps up to date. And what I really need to do, at some point I have got to do a video and documents introductions. So you once everything's settled, once somebody take your money, so I can list all the stuff out. I've got to do that. That's one thing I have got to do. But I'm kind of shying away just in case my prices change. I got if I want to know what the last part says. I say actually says something else. Oh yeah, you want to see what the my wife says I only have 2 faults. I don't listen and something else. She bought it for me. Yeah, I've been through the comments now, Happy. If I've missed anyone's, I'll just put it on. Magic Smoke. Question. Sorry to bang on about. What colour is LED going to be? Okay, so the plan is to be red. Unless a lot of people don't like that, because I don't want it blue, because it just doesn't look right blue. And I like the idea of red. Having said that, but I think red looks quite nice, and after all, it in my head it's an Amiga monitor, even though it's not. I'm planning on a darker one, because we've got a very in the phone we've got a very tiny hole, so it will not be that bright, and we're also going to reduce the brightness of the LED as well when they make the final ones, because they're going to be making thousands. So do we get signatures internal to the body of the case? No, I don't do that. I know Happy's going to want, I want to put my signature. No, I don't do that. Did you see the question about Atari ST Mono? Yes, and answered it. Hopefully I answered it okay, but it just, assuming you mean the VGA output, straight in works. Written somewhere. No, I'm not putting Appy was here. To be honest, Appy didn't design the chassis. But Appy's name is on the board. So on the internal cards, Appy's name will be on the cards, not on the chassis, because he wasn't involved in that. I don't even put my own name. So I'm not even putting my own name, and I designed it. Do you know in the meantime between failure of the industrial panel monitors? Oh God. Well, go to the Kickstarter, scroll down. I'm pretty sure there's a link to the panel on the display displaypanel.com, and it gives you it there. But it's a long time. It's a long time. Any chance of the black garage again? Not the first time I've asked this. Probably won't be the last. We mean like that one over there. That's the only one. But it is a fair question. I've still got 40 odd of the white ones left. The black ones are really popular, and they sold really quick. So, but I'm not necessarily. Now, what I will probably do, what you have to understand is I don't have a lot of space, and I'm going to probably have a clear out to get. And I don't mean a sale. I'm going to sell. I'm going to encourage people to buy all my cases. There's about 60, 70 cases in stock. I'm going to try and sell the stock. What's not sold will be shipped to Michael in Germany so he can sell them, because I need to clear the space and I want to get rid of all the monitor stands. It's really important to understand that I need the space and for assembly. So I'm literally clearing out in the new year, next year, right? We'll start doing the cases again, etc. But for the time being, I'm going to try and clear all that stock out just to give me room and just solely concentrate on the monitors. And the problem is with the if you want a stand, buy a white one. But the problem with the stand is they take, for shipping, volumetrically they're huge, and the shipping's really expensive, so you won't even be able to order it with a monitor. Now if you like, I tell you what, if you live in, say, Australia or America, and you know a dealer out there, that Amiga dealer, let's put business that way, who's interested, then I'm happy to talk to them about letting them have the design to manufacture there, just to get them out there and get the costs down. And Australia, because it's quite a big market in Australia. People want, a lot of people want them, but they're obviously put off by the fact that it costs twice as much to ship as it does the cost of the actual stand. I'm actually, I would prefer to get a little bit for the design, but I'm actually not against giving the design away to be made in those two countries, and for so that people can get them. Because in the UK it's fine, but it's just too much to ship. Do you know the time for black carriage again? Yeah, I was waiting for the camera to shut off. Need to organise a LAN event where 16:9 is prohibited. Have you decided to have the bezel blank rather than? Well, it's not. I'm not gonna. It's never gonna have 1087s on the tooling. I still don't know whether I'm gonna. I'm probably going to put that on the back because there's going to be like a sticker on the back that usual information sticker on the back. It won't be very big, of course. Just go in the corner or something like that. But I'll probably put the name on that. Just stick it on. I'm not really sure exactly how I'm going to do it, but I'm not going to put it on the front. It was okay to start with, but I don't think that because this is going to sell to so many people outside the Amiga community and the outside like the Commodore community, they won't know what it means. So it's great for the Commodore people, but for anyone else, it doesn't really make any sense, and I don't want to confuse things. So we will probably still call them that, but it's not going to be part of the brand. It's Checkmate Displays, basically. Oh, hang on. Oh, God. You mean ultra wide? Okay, I'm not sure what that means. There are so many things we could do with this project in the future. Yeah. Those of us ordering multiple monitors might want a variety of pod choices as extras, of course. Yeah, you can do what you like with the pods. I mean, as I said, if you've ordered multiple ones, great. If you want to order an extra one, there'll be one extra per person. Now, I might extend that for people who bought more, but probably, I don't know, because I'm only going to make 2,000 and 1,500 are already sold. So, and there's a lot of people, obviously I'm supplying my backers first. You know that. And if you want one, add one, but I'm not going to do more than one. I think it's, my plan is to sell the 2,000 and then reset and see what's going on. I have a lot of analog consoles that use SCART to make it easy and daisy chaining splitters. Yeah, I'm not sure about having two GBSs in the system. I don't want to comment on that. I don't want Appy. I mean, Appy, you can comment on that if you know for sure. But it's probably not worth it unless we test two to see what happens. I think it's overkill. I think you're better off with a splitter, although splitters tend to be rubbish. Unless you get a really good splitter. But that's an expensive way of adding an extra SCART. Does Atari use the cable to select high-res colour? Do you know where we can get the cables? No, right. From my understanding, bear in mind I'm not an Atari user. My understanding is the SCART and the RGB output and the composite outputs, neither are high resolution. It's a separate port, which is the VGA I think it's a VGA output. That they're different. They're completely different. So, but I believe someone did an adapter, a switch or something, but I've not tried one of them. I'm happy with it as long as it's not too bright. Yeah, I agree. These are too bright, bloody awful. But it's one of those things. They're prototypes. Red is nice, but anything except blue is fine. Yeah, it sucks, doesn't it? Blue really does suck. Red is a retro colour. I like red. I mean, I had a red Alfa, so I like red. What is the timeline currently? I don't want to... Look, the timeline is going to shift a bit. But the funny thing is that the chassis are... If I sign it off, if they do ship this week, and it arrives next week, and I sign it off, and then the tool is done. Theoretically, the tool will be done by the end of July. So, we're not, I can then start manufacturing the chassis. Now, the only thing at the moment is the circuit boards. Because we've completely redesigned everything. Well, I'm using the royal we. Me and Appy, with Appy doing 99.9% of the work. But that we have to wait and see how the controller people in China, because they've got to put their stuff onto it, and we need to probably have a couple of prototypes made, make sure a few prototypes made, make sure it's all working. That's going to be where the delay is, but that's also where the strength of the system's going to lie, because this was not the plan. I never actually planned. I planned it all to be connected with cables, and that would have shipped. But this is a different ball game, different levels. You can see from this picture here, yeah, totally different ball game, right? And that backplane was never part of it, but that backplane is going to be really bloody useful, much better. This is a much better system than the original. Ultimately, it's mostly a backplane with some clever video switching circuitry, that kind of thing. But we're trying to make it really strong, robust. Nappy's done a lot of work on making sure everything works just nice, and the whole power supply, to make sure the power supply is really good. Yes, but I don't want to quote times, because at the moment I don't know. Will we run late? Yes, we probably will run late. Will we get them in Q4 like the plan was? I'm still pretty confident we can get them in Q4 and start shipping before the end of the year. Will we ship all of them? No chance, because it's a lot of work. But I will keep you all informed, okay? And you will know what's going on. Got any black keyboards left? Nope, they went a long time ago. Also, will this be PAL NTSC agnostic? So if I have a C64 Kawari, I can switch on the fly between the two. Yeah, I mean, if it's got a PAL signal on the controller, it switches to PAL mode. If it's got an NTSC signal that's being displayed, it switches to NTSC mode. And when you do info, it comes up PAL NTSC. That's AV. All the SCART stuff going in will actually go in as a again. No, it's 720 by 480 or 460. It's an NTSC display, and then it switches to PAL. So all the audio, all the AV stuff, right, is region specific, should we say? But of course, when people start plugging it in, if the signal's like a bit weird, it might confuse it. Okay. Yes, the black and white Atari ST mode needs special cable. It's high resolution. Yeah, but that works. Okay. So, I mean that. Yeah. Interestingly, oh come on, let's. Sorry, I'm just going through the questions here. This skips right. Okay. So the Atari's high res mode is 640 by 400. Now, on these monitors, it switches to 640 by 480. That's the closest it's got, and so it fills the screen and it puts a black bar at the bottom. Now that's how it is, because it is 640 480 display it puts up, but it's not filling the whole thing. But it does look good. We could do don't worry about. We could do a SCART pod with say 4 SCARTs. Yeah, don't worry about Appy. Maybe later. Yeah. Atari ST has a monochrome detect pin. Okay. Did you say you wanted to use thumb screws to hold the pods in place? Yeah, I mean, all my latest ones have had thumb screws. And we are putting thumb screws. In fact, we're having. You must have seen this. We're having. It's no point showing you because I'm not going to zoom into it. We're actually having them anodized to be as close a match to the color of the monitor as possible. Now black's easy, but because we're doing our oyster white, it's not actually too bad as it stands at the moment. We're going to try and get the color a little bit closer, because obviously there's screws on the side. So in fact, actually they'll probably look really good because it's blurry. You can see what we've got so far on the side. Yeah, they are, those screws in there are anodized to match, and you can see. I see I've taken the pods out. Happy's preparing it, but you can see the thumbnail screws, but they're anodized, so they look nice, and all the screws are anodized to look as nice as possible. Sorry, I walked away there. All the basic screws are being made to look nice. It's costing money. Spare no expense. Most people using this video from the C64 to do the NTSC PAL. Thanks. Yeah. So on the S video, you'll use one of the pods. Remember to put an S video card. Now I do an inexpensive S video adapter that just connects to the internal HDMI. But if you've got something like one of the retro tinks, I've probably got to redo the adapter, but I'm happy to share the design so you can print your own holder and mount that, 3D print it, and it will mount internally. But whether I won't make a metal, because our rear frames are going to be metal, but we probably won't do a metal one for that. I may have to. I don't know how many people are going to use the retro tinks internally. I've got to be honest, especially the high-end ones. But the cheap little, I don't want to call them cheap because they work really nice. But I went for a whole load of S video boards, and I found a really nice one, about £29. And that actually looks. It's probably 90% of the quality, maybe better than that. Actually, 90% of the quality of the Tink S video input. But obviously the Tink is a better technology, but it does look great. It looks good to me, but I think you need to see the quality of composite on this is actually really good. So yeah, I think the composite's really good. Right, now if you've got any more questions, because as I said, I do want to cut this short because I'm actually frying. Any more questions, I will hang on, but it'd be nice if I can get this over and done with now. Can you offer some spare thumb screws? Because that is a kind of oh God, you know, that's a good point. I'll look into the problem I got. You know, this falls down to that category of. I tend to put what you need in. I mean, with my screw packs, let's go by the hex spaces in the cases. I put in there what you're gonna need if you use the most, right? Because I'm actually going to be putting these on and screwing them in. I'll give you some thought if I put a spare one. Look, it's just one of those things. Do you put extras in? Because I'm not going to include a screw pack. I'm probably not going to include a screw pack because I assemble them. But I'll look into that. But look, if it's an issue, I'll make sure that they're, you know, pop them in the post kind of thing, and you'll always be able to get them. It's just a case of, it's that thing. If it's, yeah, I know, it's one. Look, I know, everyone says that. It's just that putting them in every other one. They are not cheap, these things. If you look at the individual price, right, you go, that's not expensive. But when I've got 6 on each one and 2,000, then you buy 6,000. So then you're saying, well, instead of that, if I'm putting an extra couple in there, it's now 2,500. You know, I mean, and I'm already overspent on these bloody things, right? I never actually budgeted for expensive anodized color matching screws. This is what that's the thing about, you know, seeing how we're going on it now. You know, I'm like, if I make a little bit of extra, I'll try and spend some of it. But as I said, always said, this project has to make money, has to make profit, because going forward, for example, the next batch is nerve-wracking, and I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. But if we make enough profit, then it might be, I'll just fund it and then I could just order another 1,000 sets. That's the scary bit. Is the next one, how, you know. But I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna sell really well. But I always. I've learnt my lesson, and I always err on the side of it's gonna go tits up. Excuse the language. Then I planned for that because you want me to be around. Hopefully, I haven't actually lost them yet. Yeah, I know. I'll be fine paying extra for spare screws. Yeah, okay. Maybe we can do a spare screw pack or something. I don't know. I'll look into that. Remind me. It's not white. It's oyster. I know I'm pedantic. It's oyster white. So if you look on RAL 1013, it's not white. Okay. So it's kind of it's not beige, it's oyster white, and their colour's not bad, but they didn't actually have a sample. They had a sample of a sprayed version, and it kind of didn't match. And it might also be because, anyway, one of the things I'm doing when I'm in China is I'm giving the people who make the screws one of my plastic parts that's injection molded oyster white, and getting them to make it as close as they can to that. And then I order thousands, literally thousands of these things. Checkmate stickers. Well, no, you don't need it because it's got Checkmate is actually going to be embossed in the logo, in the front of the panel, so you don't need it. As I said, there'll be a sticker on the back. You know, I might be tempted to do some 1084, 1087 stickers that if you want to stick it on, you know, like with the clear background. Maybe do that. I don't know yet. Because that's always nice, you know, you can always do that. And an Appy Was Here too. Yeah, whatever. You can pay for them. You've got Appy Was Here on the circuit board. Just stick it on the circuit board. I don't mind what you put on there as long as you don't insult, question my sexuality. Well, I don't even care about that, to be fair. That's all going on the circuit board. So Appy's signature is going on the circuit board. So that's where he puts his name. But as I said, I'm not a big fan of signing stuff. And so the only thing I did do, as you all know, is I put Jay Minor and Dave Haney inside the cases, plastic. I did that because that's just a respect thing for me. And that's the only kind of thing I would do. I wouldn't put my own name. I don't think I'm that kind of person. What was the idea? Checkmate stickers with every monitor. Yeah, I mean, I might, because I did it with this, and maybe. But then this is where guys like Badgeman, he makes, I wouldn't say a living, but he sells lots of badges, and so he can make, nice little stickers that can go on and be what you want. Because you might want it to say, this has got a Vampire V4 in it. You might not. You might have a black monitor which has got Vampire on it. Now, one of the reasons for putting the Checkmate name in the actual plastic on the external, on top of the fact the trademark in Checkmate displays, is so because not everyone puts a sticker on, and so it's nice to have the name in the logo. That's always there, and it's slightly different to what you've seen already, where it's embossed and sticking out. Now it's going to be embedded, the name, and then smooth. It'll look fantastic in black. I don't know if I can show you it actually. Hang on a sec. I don't know if it'll come out. You're not really going to be able to see it. No, you're not going to be able to see it. So it's embossed and then it's smooth. There's going to be a texture on everything, but the actual letters will be smooth and slightly indented. And going from what I've seen, it's going to look really nice. I would pay for colour screws for my Checkmate case, maybe in talks to avoid mangling the screws. Yeah, see, at the moment, they're good question, actually. No, they're just thumb screws. They're just thumb screws at the moment. Right, come on, any more questions? Because I want to go. I backed one monitor on the Kickstarter. Is it possible to change that to 2 now? Better wait until it's ready to ship. Look, just wait. You will get the option to add one monitor, and it will be at the same price as your existing monitor. Bearing in mind, after anyone after the Kickstarter backers, any others are going up in price. The monitors are increasing in price. They're not going to be ridiculous, but they are going up in price because they will get all the bits that are options to you, but please buy the options, and we're making them as cheap as possible. So the price is going up accordingly. So yeah, if you're going to buy it with the Kickstarter. Now, if you don't, just even if you're a backer and you come back later and say, can I have it the price of the backers? No, you can't. Because the reason is that we'll be ordering probably less. Our prices are going up. So if you want it at that price, order it during the Kickstarter. Yep. See you later. Right. Okay. Will the second monitor ship with the first monitor? Yes. No. They'll ship together because it's cheaper for shipping. They usually go up by about 60%. The shipping cost increases by about 50-60%, something like that for two. So it's cheaper to do that than individually. So that'll be fine. You'll still have your place in the queue. So the secret is, when you get the email, I'm going to give everyone a warning, right? I'm going to give everyone a week's warning. And basically it's going to be, next week, it's being turned on. Get in there, right? And that's how it's going to be. Now, I'm going to pick 2 or 3 people just to test the system for me. And these are people probably who've been previous backers. But everyone, you will get warning, and it will be a case of, right, and then just jump on, do it. He's been taken away. Do it and then pay for it. Get it done. And because remember, your invoice number is your place in the queue. It's your number in the queue, and it just goes up and up and up. So the sooner you pay the balance, the sooner you'll get it. Some people like to leave it. Oh, I'm in no rush. That's fine. You just be at the back of the queue, and I've done that 2 Kickstarters like that now, and I think people respect the fact that I've been literally doing it that way. So that's how it works. Now there are people on a waiting list, and if there's any left over, I will. What I did last time, just so everyone's clear, what I did last time was once like 90% of people put their names in, so I just literally randomly manually put invoice numbers in, so all the backers got their place in the queue. I did that, and so then every backer's got their place in the queue. So because I may open the ordering up later in the process to the people who are on the waiting list. Once all the orders are closed. Now, if this usually is always the way, 1%, 2% of people don't bother doing it. So I put their invoice numbers so they got their place, and then everyone's got their place in the queue. And then anyone after that would just be at the back of the queue, so theirs will be shipped later. But I will want to. It depending on how many people are going to buy the extras, because there's 1,500 sold. I'm making 2,000, and I know that 500 is going to go. I think a lot of them will be bought by backers for a second monitor, and then I've got enough people in the queue later on to just ship that lot out. That's at that point. Once I've shipped most of them, then I'll start with version 2 of the PR. But I'll be doing that when I might even leave it, I'll leave it until I've shipped them all, just to make sure, because it does mean there's a gap, but it gives me a breather. Right, okay, look, I think Starry's turned up a bit late, but he's here. I do need to go now because, as I said, I'm cooking. and it's quite warm in here with all these computers on, especially that 2000. So how does it work for the festive placeholder deposit backers? It just means you got to pay your balance. It doesn't. You the whole point was you put £100 deposit, got your place on the system, but you'll have to just pay your balance and the extras. That's all it means. Sooner you do it, the sooner you get in the queue, because you're a backer. Even though you only paid £100, that's irrelevant. You're a backer. You're in the queue. So that's you just, as far as I'm concerned, you're just a backer. You just got more to pay. Right. Okay. I'm going to go now. Going to see my wife. If they pay quick, does that mean they are towards the front? Yes. It's exactly what it means. Because my invoices go up in number by one at a time. As soon as you pay, you got your place in the queue. Now, your number might be 4,200 or something, or three. No, actually, it's not. It's probably going around. What are the invoice numbers actually at the moment? I think they're about 3,000, but it'd be something like 3,000 odd, right? But it'll be going up to 4,500, 5,000, and that'll be your number. But I ship it. I literally do shipping orders. I might do a batch of 50, and you might find like invoice number 3,000. 3020 arrives before 3000 purely because 3020 went to the UK and 3000 went to the US, but apart from that, I do ship them in order, and I did that the last couple of Kickstarters, and it just worked out really well, and everyone was happy. When will we get the invoice? That's as soon as you pay. So you get your order, you get your system, you log into the system, you've got your account set up already, and you add all your extras. As soon as you pay, right, and you pay your balance, it generates you an invoice number, and that then becomes your invoice number. It's all done, finished. Okay, just get it right, please. Get it right, because it's really hard to change it afterwards, especially when I'm really up to my eyes in it. It might be that if you go, I didn't want that colour. Or colours. Colours okay changing for the odd one, which I can do, but not en masse. Numbers, yeah. I mean, how long until we select? As I said before, when I'm ready, I'm literally just waiting for the final pricing on the shipping costs, which is a big deal, because I think we're going to save you some money compared to my existing costs, and that's why I've been holding off, and also just waiting for other bits. Anyway, look, I'm going to go now, right? So thanks so much. There's going to be the usual outro. Yes, you can pay by IBAN bank transfer if you want to. It just takes time, so it might take 3 or 4 days before the money arrives, and when you have to tell me you're sending the money, right, by bank transfer, because I don't know, because sometimes what comes in bears no relation to anything, so you must tell me. But it doesn't mean there could be 3, 4, 5 days delay. Now also, don't pay by bloody Amex, and I may stop Amex because it takes a week. It's a nightmare. But yeah, the IBAN ones are manual, so when I see the money arrive on a bank account, I go to your order mark paid. Yeah, so you're a week behind, and if everybody else has dived in with credit cards, you're at the back of the queue. Right, Happy is leaving the stream. Yeah, okay, so as always, I'm going to put the outro on. It's just me trying to sell you stuff, right? So just laugh at it or hang up. All right, see you later. I may do one next week, but if not, in a couple of weeks. Speak to you later. Bye. The Checkmate 1500 Mini and Plus cases are mostly engineered and manufactured in the UK. They're designed to give a nice retro-inspired vibe on your desktop. The 1500 Plus is the biggest of the cases, designed to be able to take much bigger motherboards inside. So this can take a micro ATX as well as mini ITX if you want to build a PC. But also, with the correct rear panel, you can fit an Amiga 500, an Amiga 1200 and an Amiga 600 and build your ultimate Amiga rig. The Mini is designed to take Mini ITX motherboards, but don't think that limits you. Yes, you can build a PC, but also you can put in many custom motherboards from the retro scene, like the Mystics, which takes a DE10 Nano, one of our DE10 Nano fitting kits, a fitting kit for the Raspberry Pi 4, and other systems that are coming on stream right now. The Checkmate Garage was inspired by our new monitor developments. The reason being, if you've got a 500, 1200, an Atari ST, BBC Micro, or any of the all-in-ones, it's nice to be able to put the monitor directly above and tidy up your system. However, exciting new product is our new range of monitors, 17 and 19 inch retro-inspired monitors with loads of input, but also capable of taking an all-in-one computer internally. The monitor will come to Kickstarter hopefully August, September time. If you want to go on the mailing list telling you when it's ready, please point your camera at this QR code and it will take you to the page, which will then allow you to press a button to add yourself to the mailing list. The monitor is an important part of this company's strategy. Large amounts of development work are being done and it will be like nothing you've ever seen. So hopefully it will pique your interest and you'll back us on the Kickstarter. Let's come to Patreon. Patreon is a very important part of this project. What we're planning with Patreon is, if you are a Patreon backer, whatever you've invested in Patreon to help us, we will put up to 5% of an order. So you get an extra 5%, but that's the whole order. Doesn't matter what you've ordered. It doesn't even matter if you don't back us on Patreon anymore. Hopefully you'll come back, but we want to show our gratitude to all those who backed us in the past. You'll see their names ticking by in this video. But I also know this is not just about people wanting discounts on products. They want more content from myself. So what you're going to see is a lot more videos from me, because now that I am full-time on this project, I'll have more time to spend on it. So I can give you videos of my computers. You'll notice I do have a reasonable collection and I'm going to talk you through them. This is something that was at the top of the list for people who are backing me on Patreon. Not everyone does it to back the new projects. So how come I've got more time? Well, for the last 15 years I've worked for a company called Web Labs, and they've been absolutely fantastic. In fact, none of these products would have existed, and I'm going to stick their logo up here. I want to thank them, and going forward we'll probably still work with Web Labs and do some further development. But ultimately I want to concentrate on this project and hopefully make a success of it. And let's hope I can be doing this for many years to come.